Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi spoke to U.S. President Donald Trump as tensions between Tokyo and Beijing continued to escalate, marking a crucial moment in high-stakes diplomacy between the two allies. The U.S. president reached out to Takaichi just a few hours after his important conversation with Chinese President Xi Jinping, setting the stage for a delicate balancing act in the region. Following the call, Sanae Takaichi announced that Tokyo and Washington had reaffirmed, in no uncertain terms, their strong dedication to close cooperation as the situation in East Asia becomes more unpredictable. The Prime Minister made it clear that the conversation with Trump was focused on deepening and reinforcing the decades-long security alliance between Japan and the United States, an alliance now seen as more vital than ever. Prime Minister Takaichi also revealed that President Trump took the time to brief her on the latest developments in U.S.-China relations, explaining how Washington is approaching its complex ties with Beijing. However, when pressed for greater detail about what was discussed with the American president, Takaichi stated she would not be disclosing any further sensitive diplomatic information to the public. In a notable comment to reporters, Takaichi said that President Trump told me he is an extremely close friend of mine, underscoring the cordial relationship between the two leaders.
Earlier today, at President Trump's request, we held a telephone conversation. I thanked him for sending me a signed copy of an American newspaper that reported on President Trump's visit to Japan, and conveyed my appreciation for the U.S. efforts toward peace in Ukraine. We then exchanged views on a wide range of topics, including strengthening the Japan-U.S. alliance, as well as the situation and challenges facing the Indo Pacific region. During the meeting, President Trump gave an explanation about the recent state of U.S.-China relations, including the U.S.-China summit telephone conversation that took place last night. I was also asked about the G20 summit that I attended, and I answered that question. Amid the current international situation, I believe that following President Trump's recent visit to Japan, we were able to confirm the close cooperation between Japan and the United States. President Trump told me that he is an extremely close friend of mine and that he would like to call me at any time. As for the content of the meeting, as it was a diplomatic exchange, I would like to refrain from disclosing any details.
Elsewhere in Tokyo, Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary, Minoru Kihara, stressed that the government's official stance on China has not changed, despite ongoing frictions. Kihara said that President Trump intends to encourage China to act responsibly in matters concerning Taiwan and will continue to communicate with the Chinese government about regional stability.
I understand that a U.S.-China summit, a summit telephone conversation took place yesterday, the 24th. Stability in relations between the U.S. and China is extremely important to the international community, including Japan. We are aware of the announcements made by the Chinese side, but we will refrain from commenting on each and every one of them. We have been communicating with the United States at various levels on a wide range of issues, not just our relationship with China, and we intend to continue to respond appropriately. In any event, based on the strong relationship of trust with our ally, the United States, Japan will continue to urge China to fulfill its responsibilities commensurate with its position.
On November 24, President Trump engaged in a significant phone call with Xi Jinping at a time when China was embroiled in a diplomatic dispute with Japan, amplifying tensions across the region.
China's foreign ministry made it known that the call with Xi was initiated by President Trump himself and described the conversation as positive and productive, aiming to keep communication lines open for regional stability. During the conversation, President Xi told Trump that Taiwan remains an inseparable part of China, stressing this long-standing policy firmly, as reported by Chinese state media.
Since President Trump's second term, the Chinese and U.S. leaders have maintained frequent exchanges. As far as I know, this call was initiated by the U.S. side, and the atmosphere was positive, friendly, and constructive. Communication between the two heads of state on issues of common concern is very important for the stable development of China-U.S. relations.
However, President Trump said his own discussion with Xi went beyond Taiwan and touched on key issues like the fight against fentanyl and the ongoing war in Ukraine between Russia and Ukraine. Despite China's strong messaging, President Trump did not reference Taiwan at all in his statement on Truth Social.
Instead highlighting that the United States and China have maintained what he described as extremely strong relations following the recent talks with Xi Jinping. The relationship between Japan and China has continued to deteriorate, with diplomatic exchanges becoming more heated after recent comments made by Prime Minister Takaichi regarding Taiwan. In the past, Takaichi had not ruled out the possibility of military intervention if China were to use force against Taiwan. Beijing lashed out by accusing the Japanese Prime Minister of meddling in China's internal matters. China demanded that Takaichi retract her comments, a demand the PM firmly refused.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.